Welcome back to another episode of Pregame Twirl. Today's guest is Matty Brown, former BU Standout, pro hockey player. Now, my co-host and you apparently played Pee Wee hockey together. Who would you say who put up more points in Pee Wee hockey?
I don't even know. Probably Brownie.
I don't know. I mean, back in that day, we had a nice dynamic. I'd
You
give
were
him the
good.
puck. He'd score. He'd give me the puck. I'd sometimes score. It was nice. It was a nice setup.
Hey, Woody, if you want to hear a fun fact, I actually had to fact check this before he got on. The only two players, or forwards at least, played pro hockey on that team, me and Brownie. I got my 10K contract in, so we did it right. Jason May,
Couple clips.
Coach Jason May. Shout out.
Oh, he was the coach, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was definitely the coach. I did first year there. I think you're only there for my first year. Maybe you
I got cut the next year.
Oh, yeah. Good call.
Yeah.
We had some questionable ones.
Second on the team in points, smell ya.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, and then CJ also for Nicky Mo. That was a good one as well. Good pick.
Yeah.
But
a lot of character on that group.
Yeah, we had some good times. Holy shit. So first, I guess we're going to
start. Was this New York or New Jersey?
Jersey,
New Jersey.
Okay.
So, yeah, I guess we can kind of rip it. We can start with your little youth career. Obviously, Jersey's becoming a hotbed the last 10, 15 years. I'm sure you have a lot of buddies that you kind of grew up with, kind of playing pro and everything. And obviously you play on a couple different teams. I guess kind of just walk through that a little bit, some skill coaches, and kind of what you did growing up to help you get to where you were.
Yeah. I mean, I started out at the Avs, which I feel like for North Jersey has become pretty much the takeover spot now. Ever since Latitos came in there, Hudson's came in there. They've done a really good job. Got cut from them one year, went to the Devils. Then went back to the Avs. That was our year.
Yeah.
And then got cut again. Went to Westchester for a year. So I was like a 2-hour drive sometimes. That was brutal. Then just finished it out with the Rockets up until juniors. Played on a lot of teams, made a lot of friends. I honestly think that a lot of the parents today have the wrong mentality with youth hockey. Everyone wants to go to the best team. I think you should take your kid where they're going to play the most. I mean, the Devils team I was on, maybe like my second year squirt, we went 0-30 in the league. We didn't win a game. We had maybe one line of AAA kids, one D pair, and we had two good goalies actually, and then everyone else was probably like a AA guy.
Those guys, they played Division III though. I think there's other couple of guys, right? It was actually a pretty good group.
It was my one line. It was me, Corey Clifton, who played D3,
UMass,
and then Steven Decker. I don't know. I think he went to Del Barton. I don't know where he ended up. And then we had Ty Schaefer, who I played with later at the Rockets. He was good. This kid Sebastian Unra, I don't know where he ended up. And then our goalies were Del Tufo, who went D3, and CJ Hapward, Suffolk Standout. So we had no depth, but like I'd be on the ice for pretty much the whole game.
Yeah, that's one thing. Like obviously we stayed very close growing up, and then when people would ask like when you made like the jump to pro, junior, college, whatever it was, I'm like, he wasn't necessarily like he like navigated it well. It's kind of what I said. Like you worked your ass off, you earned it 100%, but you navigated the system where it was like you weren't third line on that 99 Colonial team that was like top 5 in the country, or you weren't.
Yeah.
The Avs like made like the U16 jump with like Latito and Vinny Smith, whatever they came in. You weren't like, oh my God, I'm gonna like take a backseat to some guys, whatever that they kind of had their hands on. You kind of found situations where you would excel, and I think that's what kind of helped you. Funny story is with you, I guess actually with your dad Ricky actually was. You guys all know the Chowder Cup, I'm sure, and you committed like a day before that tournament, but like you kind of like announce it. This was to Lowell before I guess like after the weekend or something, and I'm walking through the lobby, and I'm like walking out the door, and Ricky comes out, he's like, "Wardle, what's going on? What's going on?" And he's like, "Did you hear the news?" I'm like, "No, like what happened?" He's like, "I just committed to Lowell like an hour ago. Like we're so fired up, like he can't like announce it till like the end of the game." Or I'm like, "Fucking right!" It's like, let's go. So it kind of just like probably a good rewarding story after you kind of talked about getting caught a little bit. You kind of fucking perseverance story there.
Funny thing about that too was two things on that. I think it was my first year U18. I went to Avs tryouts. They told me if I was going to make it, it was going to be like a 13th guy. And then I went to the EHL with the Rockets. which back then was stronger than it is now, since like NCDC wasn't a thing. It was still like the USP3, so those two leagues hadn't like merged yet.
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, you're going to play first line here. And I was like, well, I'm either going to play first line against older guys, or I'm going to go take the back seat and be a 13th forward on a U18 team and be in the stands some night. Like, just because it's a good team, I'm not going to go do that.
Yeah. And then the
So it's
next year
like,
you started in Dubuque, right? I think.
and that, yeah, and
Or
then the
why,
next year I
whatever one
started
was
Dubuque,
first.
I made that jump. But like, guys, I see people all the time. It's like, oh yeah, like my kid just won this tournament, da da da. Your kid was on the ice for 7 minutes, and they're 13. Like, that's not fun for anybody. Like, it's not always about being on the best team. It's about being in the best situation for yourself. And the same thing with like my commitment. I was between Lowell and Northeastern. Northeastern had 30 forwards committed at the time when like I was making a decision. I was like, well, if there's 30 guys they're all promised something. Someone's promised some money, like they promised me some money. Someone's getting screwed somewhere.
Yeah.
Like Lowell had 4 or 5 guys committed. None of them were really the same role as me. I was like, all right, I'm going to go there. Like, it's a no-brainer. They were also 4th in the country at the time, so I felt like, good program there. But there's people that I think they get too caught up in like the winning now, and it's like hockey's a marathon. It's not really a sprint. Just because you're nasty when you're 7, 8, 9, 10 doesn't mean you're going to be good when you're 16, 17. And just because you're good in juniors or U16 doesn't mean you're going to be good at college or pro and yada, yada, yada. Every level's a step up, and you got to put yourself in positions to succeed.
How many years of juniors did you do?
Technically 3. My senior year, I played high school, EHL, and U18 all in one year. So like I was still at home and like I was still going to my normal high school. I dropped like a language class and had like a free period at the end of the day so I could leave school early to make practice. But I did that for a year, and then I was between Dubuque and Odessa my second year, and then third year I was with Des Moines, and then I went into school.
And talk
Yeah,
about what was the jump from the U show to college hockey that you noticed? Like, what were a couple things where you're like, whoa, this is a little different?
Oh man, I remember my first shift at college. We were playing Alabama Huntsville, and I put like a puck in a kid's corner, and like I'll throw the body every now and then, but it's not like the best part of my game. But like I like to think I can do it occasionally, and I tried to blow this defenseman up. I got reverse hit, and I got pancaked.
Angel style.
Oh, bad. Yeah, I was like, I got up, like my skills coach was right in front of the glass, like right where that was too. He was laughing his ass. I just happened, like as I'm getting up, made eye contact with him. He's dying laughing. His face is all beat red. Like he just shows up the next skill skate we had too with a picture of me just on the ground. I was like, oh, thanks. But like a lot of the guys in college are like older, stronger, and the thing that you notice, or that I notice at least, every time you make the jump up is it becomes more of a team game and less of an individual game. And I think the guys that like offensively have success at lower levels and struggle at higher levels can't figure out to simplify the game and kind of pick their places of where like, okay, I'm going to try and take this guy on, or like you watch a lot of like pro games now, like you'll see McKinnon dance someone like in a game, score, yeah, but like the first 5 times he came down, he cut back, he delayed, he made a pass. Like you kind of have to lull the defenseman asleep a little bit, and then that's where you get in the position to do something like that. So I feel like the jump, like you show to college, and even more so college to pro, was the guys are smarter, their sticks are in better positions. You're not going to beat guys 1-on-1 as much as you normally do. You need to try and create 2-on-1s. You need to try and create situations where D-man's got a bad gap or he's flat-footed there. Like, you got to try and get an advantage somewhere. And it takes a couple passes, a couple plays to set that up. So you got to think the game a little more. And, what was the other thing I was going to say? Uh, and it's also in terms like a little easier in the fact that usually your teammates are better as well, so they'll be in better spots for you. So if you can think the game at that level and guys are in spots where they're supposed to be, which as you move up, it happens more and more, it just makes it a little easier to play. But at the same time, you have to realize, like, I'm not going to dance 3 people and score every time I get the puck. Like, I have to look to make other plays. I have to do this, and I feel like a lot of people struggle with that.
You know, the one thing I think I know is obviously I had a very short stint or whatever, but right out of college I played too, and there was like a play early in the first period, one of my first shifts, and the kid's not even looking at me, right? Like I'm kind of like skating to the neutral zone, like I'm definitely open. Like in Division 3, like I'm not getting that puck. I'm going boards out, glass out. I get the puck and like I fumble fucked it. I'm like, holy! I actually just got this puck. Like I'm not used.
Yeah.
So I think like the difference that I like noticed, and you kind of talked about it a lot, is not necessarily like the foot speed of the player; it's how fast they think the game. Like they know what they're gonna do with the puck right before they get it. So I think that was one thing that you hit on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, for first
I
shift, I was like,
remember
holy.
my first preseason game with Philly. Mark Stahl had a puck like off of a transition, and I was cutting up, and I was open like bank pass, and it was one where like he was under pressure. I didn't really think he'd see it, so I started to curl back, and he just like no look whipped it up there, and it like went
Yeah.
down for icing. And if I had just kept my route, I had a B way. And I went back to him, and I was like, "Man, like I'm not used to people seeing that. Like that's on me." He kind of just laughed. But
That's kind of
like
how I felt.
it's like you get in spots where like guys can think the same way, or like guys will actually see it as you move up. It just makes the game easier.
So obviously it started off, you're learning the college game after juniors, and then you end up hitting the transfer portal after your second year at UMass Lowell. After that big, I watched that game, that big overtime winner. I don't know if it was the semis or the quarterfinal
Yeah.
against DC. They had Boldy, Captain Hook on that team. They were loaded, and you beat them. And I believe you did the heartbreaker center ice Conte for them.
Yeah.
You hit the
Clip it.
portal. You end up going to BU. I mean, BC definitely was all over you in the portal. They have to have been after that performance. Um, but talk about obviously your senior year at BU. We're talking 16 goals, 31 assists, 47 points. I believe you're fighting with your teammate, and we're going to get there with Lane Hudson for hockey scoring leader. But you guys went on to win Hockey East that year. You went to the Frozen Four. Just talk about from the start of your time at UMass Lowell, just trying to figure out this college game, and then end up being, one of the Hockey East leading scorers and had a monster senior year. So just talk about that special year you had.
Yeah. One thing I will say was UMass Lowell had an unbelievable setup for freshmen. I'd honestly argue probably one of the best in the country. We came in like 2 men to a townhouse. You're maybe like 2 minute walk from the rink. Um, you got your own like kitchen, own living room, own little setup. It was nice. Um, it's just like they had like you have full access to the rink. They had a great lounge, great everything, and it's all about how much you want to put in and how much you're willing to take advantage of what they give you. Like we had a great skills coach there, and Tom Ford, who is now with the Bruins. And like the days he was there, there'd be guys that would be off the ice 2 minutes after a skate, a little stretch and gone, and like me and him would be sitting there until a coach kicked us off. It's like you gotta pay it forward, and like we had a shooting room there too. I remember I was living in there. My roommate would try and drag me out a little early sometimes, but I think he's probably a little happy I got him in there more than he wanted to be. Um, but like we had a good group of guys too, and that made it better. Like there were guys that were willing to work, guys that were willing to do it with you, and it's always better having a guy battle with you than
100%.
ride solo. But I saw like a lot of the guys that made that transition well in college were the guys that were always like one of the last couple off. Like we're watching film, we're studying, we're trying to be better, and like it's obviously college, right? Guys are gonna get lost in the social aspects of it as well, and some guys like can't really balance it that well. Like you want to have fun, you want to go out, be with the team, whatever. Like you can go out and not drink. Like I know guys that like would show up Monday so hungover, and like a coach is looking at him like, "What the hell happened to you?" It's like you gotta have your fun, but you also can't let it take away from what you're there for. Like you're there to play hockey. And I think like for some people they lose that, some people they don't. I was always one like I didn't have my first beer until I got to college. I was like last guy off the ice, one of the first at the rink. I was going back to the rink later to do extra mobility, extra this, extra that, shoot pucks. I think that's honestly the only reason that I really made it where I made it. Even growing up, like I'd be out in my backyard. Wardle used to see the setup. I've got a bunch of holes in my garage
No,
from
I
shooting
know.
pucks in there.
We used to rip it
Used to
back
have
there and sleep
those.
over.
Yep, used to
Awesome.
have those shooting tiles, and like I'd be out there for hours after skates and stuff every summer. And like for some people that works, some people it doesn't. But like for me, that was honestly pretty much the whole reason that I got to where I got in the game.
Yeah, no. So one thing I'm going to say also is we'll keep this a little brief, but you exploded. I would say production wise, your U16 years. I don't have exact
Yeah,
numbers on me, but those were the years, and you were like you were pest out there. Like you worked so hard in the summers, like you grinded. That's the two things I said, like how you navigated and how hard you worked. So I think like those 16 years, like obviously you said you got cut from Jersey, whatever teams you got cut from.
yeah,
It kind of clicked for you, like because you also like you're a smaller guy too, maybe 5'9", 5'10", whatever it is. Like I feel like at that point, like all the skill development you did, the summer work, it kind of came together in a sense where you weren't going to be denied anymore, and it kind of just clicked at the right time. And like you said, if you're good at 8, 9, doesn't really mean you're going to be good at 16, 17, and you
yeah.
got to stick with it. So that's one thing I always give
Honestly,
you credit
too,
for.
like I think with how much I got cut growing up, I think that kind of fueled the fire more and made it even better. Like I didn't make it out of districts ever. I didn't make a district camp. I didn't make like a Pee Wee Quebec. I didn't make any of those. I remember
We got cut
my
together
U
at Debs.
my U16 year, I averaged 2 goals a game, and I showed up and I didn't make it out of the open tryout at camp for like districts. I never made any of those festivals, never whatever. And I mean, like it is what it is, but that's just like if you're built to be a competitor and you like that eats at you and you
The
just
last
use
laugh thing
that
too,
like
right? We got
what's
the
up.
last laugh now.
Yeah, I think some of those guys are still playing. I've got no idea, but it is what
Yeah,
it
it's
is.
also like just like you talked about for me in my personal career, honestly, I think I got that wake up call too late when it got to juniors. I'm in the null. It's the COVID year. We're getting BCHL kids every day.
Yeah,
The Ivy League's not playing, so the studs at Harvard or whatnot, they're coming back to the USHL, bringing down the average U show guy. And then next thing you know, my home and away jerseys is a suit and tie. And I'm
hmm
like, holy shit, I'm 20 years old and I don't know how to deal with this. Right.
yeah,
So honestly, back to your point, I wish I kind of went through that when I was 9 or 10. And it's tough to do that when you're in Vermont, when you guys are running through all the guys you guys played with youth that played in college. Like in Vermont, you're lucky to have 1 or 2 guys play college hockey. So yeah, I mean, I wish I went through that growing pain early. Um, but on to BU, like obviously you played for, I mean, right now I feel safe to say it, arguably the best coach right now in college hockey. When you talk Jay Pandolfo and what he's done since he's been the head coach there, we're talking Frozen Four every year. So
yeah.
what was it like playing for him? I believe your first year at BU, he was the assistant.
Correct. Yeah.
So just talk about what you learned from him. Obviously, he was a NHL player, good 200-foot center, I believe, winger maybe.
Mhm.
But just talk about what it was like playing for Pandolfo.
Yeah. I think like the thing too with him was I think his time at the Bruins was very valuable. They had such a good culture instilled there that he was around, and I think he brought that into BU as well. I my first year, Albie O'Connell was the head coach. He had the reins. Pando was more of like a. We ran some systems that Pando wanted, power play, this that, but we didn't necessarily have the same culture my first year we had my second year. I remember we've got like a smoothie bar area, and like I'd be one of the last guys out of the rink every day. I'd go in there, I'd be a mess. Like I remember working out at Lowell. Like Lowell had a good culture when I was there where like you're working out, you're lifting weights, you're putting your weights back, like you're cleaning the gym, you're wiping stuff down. Like they don't have to ask you, they don't have to tell you, you're doing it. And like BU when I first got there, it was guys leaving weights out, guys just walking out of the gym. Like I was sitting there, it was kind of like a shock for me. I was like, what are these guys doing? And that second year, there was none of that. when he took over. They also brought in Ken Whittier, who's the strength coach. He was the assistant from the Bruins strength coach, and then Tim Brantfolt was the assistant coach at BU, and he was a skills coach with the Bruins. So like those three guys come in. Joe Pereira comes in from UConn, and it was just like culture changed like that overnight. Like it's like no nonsense. This is what's gonna happen. No one's taking it a year. Like we were a little loosey goosey the year before, and like we had a better team than what our record said the year before. And honestly, I think it was a culture issue the entire year. So like they nipped that in the butt quick. Systems wise and stuff, like we had arguably one of the most skilled teams in college, and I feel like the way we played like was tailored towards that. I know a lot of teams like Lowell was complete opposite, where it was a bunch of guys that were very hardworking, very strong, and we're playing a breakout where it's basically flood one side and keep chipping the puck up until you get in the zone or you get a 2-on-1 if you catch a guy somewhere. BU was more spread everything out, move the puck, use your speed, like make plays.
Yeah.
And that was definitely more suited towards my game, and I think that's why I had the year that I had there. The year before, I had a leg injury, so I couldn't really skate the entire year, and that's probably one of the strongest assets I have. So that kind of derailed me a little bit, but the systems he put in was perfect for the team. The culture perfect. The freshman class we had too, like they had adapted that attitude early, and I think like that was a really good thing for them, especially in the years to come with those guys getting older and being leaders. But he did a phenomenal job coaching that team.
Also, one more thing we can talk about is the run you guys had to the Frozen Four, right? I think you got. So, can you talk about how cool that run was? I know you guys started in Manchester. Ricky Brown actually spent a couple hours at my house. I live 10 minutes from there now. So, I guess kind of just talk about how cool that was. Kind of experience that before your college career ended.
Yeah, I know we had like a little joke running. We called it the Triple Crown my junior year for BU. You got the Bean Pot, you got the Hockey East, and you got the Natty. For us, like I won the Bean Pot my junior year. My senior year, we lost a heartbreaker to Northeastern 2-1 in the first round, and then like that kick started like a 4-game lapse for us. Like we lost to them. You show up to the consolation game, you don't really want to play. Like no, like doesn't mean anything. Like you want to be playing later in the night. It's hard to get up for those games, and our team played like that. We lost to BC, and then went on like a 2-game skid with Merrimack. So that kind of, I think that was good for us early. That we kind of realized like, hey, these 1-game things we need. Like we got to show up. There's no excuses, no nothing. We went into hockey's playoffs with that mentality, and like we won. Guys were pumped, but everyone knew like that wasn't the end goal for us. Like we didn't just show up to the first game in the tournament like, oh, we're riding like the high from winning. It's all right. Like we're good. Like we were hungry that first game. We played Western Michigan. We pumped them. Like it was. I want to say it was like 5-1, but it could have been 10-1, 11-1. Like we had a couple posts. Our goalie stood on his head. Like we ran them out of the building. And then the second game we had was Cornell, and we had played them earlier in the year, and we won with like Lane scored with like 5 seconds left to win the game, not even maybe. So like we knew it was going to be a tough one there. They had upset Denver, so like that was another one. Like everyone showed up, everyone played, no one really had an off game, and that's honestly that's what the whole tournament's about. One couple guys have an off game if the other guys he the teams are so good at that point. Like if you get caught lacking anywhere, it's gonna end up in the back of your net. And like we got to the Frozen Four, played Minnesota. We got in a penalty trouble there, and that kind of really cost us the game. We were also missing Case McCarthy, who was a huge part of our defense. He broke his collarbone in the hockey semis versus Providence. And I think we had Wilmer Skoo who was playing with a broken hand. Yeah, he messed something up. I don't remember what it was, but it was to the point where, like, I remember the Cornell game. He was just sitting on the bench, and he was going out there to be a screen on the power play. He wasn't even like playing.
Mm-hmm.
He was just the 13th forward and go net front. But we took. I think we might have set a record in that game. We had 10 penalties.
I remember
And we
watching
gave
that at Dollar Thursday Night Wings in Saratoga. Remember that place? What did we watch the playoffs there? I remember
Yeah.
Stone came. We watched the Minnesota BU game, Frozen Four. Perez was there
10,
too.
10 penalties in a Frozen Four game, and they got 2 5-on-3s. And against a team that has Faber, Cooley, Nyes, Snuggerud, you can't really do that.
Yeah, that was a wagon. Did they end up winning that year?
No, they lost to Q-Pack in
That's right.
overtime.
Yeah, Cooley took the penalty, and then Graf scored. Right, that was it. I think.
They scored like off of like a neutral zone Omaha play. They just like won
Yeah,
it back, took a clapper off the end boards, and caught him sleeping.
that's right. Like right off the opening draw. Right.
Right off the opening draw of overtime. Yeah, but honestly, like it's like those 1-game playoffs are so tough. I really thought that we had the team that year to go all the way, and they've put together some good teams since then. Like I really thought this year was going to be their year. They finally made it all the way to the final, but that's just they had a bad game.
I
Yeah,
guess
and
one thing we can.
that's why the college like playoffs are so fun to watch. Because legit one game, anything can happen. I'm
Anything
sure in
can.
your college career, like you guys lost to, um, a team, a UVM, or maybe a team that's struggling that year. And I mean, college hockey, you never know. So one game
Yeah.
can be anyone's game. That's why I love those playoffs. Where NHL, obviously, you're up for those games, but it's best of 7. So game 1 and 2, you're not really gripping the stick tight. Where college, it's every game means so
Oh
much
yeah.
playoffs. But obviously, I'm a diehard Habs fan, Brown. I mean, I live probably a 9 iron away from Montreal, so I go up usually at least once a week. Just
Mm-hmm.
about a season ticket holder. I'll buy one ticket, fly up. Canadian dollars cheaper, so I can get in there for pretty cheap. But now that the team's getting good, it's gonna be tough. But I got to ask you, obviously, your senior year, Lane Hudson, freshman, led Hockey East in scoring. First guy to do that since Brian Leach. So obviously he had what he did his freshman year was silly. So I got to ask you, my first question about Huddy is obviously that first summer skate, that first practice. Did you see this storm coming with him, or did it get to the season and you're like, oh my god, this kid's different?
I mean, yeah, like I remember we played them when he was on NTDP. We played them in like a December game. Like those games, like we had anyone who was hurt or banged up, we took out. So like we're not dressed in the A lineup, but like they're still D1 college players, like still good players. We lost, I think it was like 7-6 in overtime. It was an absolute shootout. And there was like a sequence for like 30 seconds where Lane and I just kept like dancing each other. And I was just like, I just never saw a D man move like that. And I was like, whoa. And then he came in like summer skates, and everyone's like, oh, he's a smaller D man. Like, he's probably going to struggle with the physicality. No one could touch him. Like, the way he moves on his edges, the head fakes he throws, how quick he is. And he's so good at reading the opponent's body language. Like, I remember me and him would sit down, like, fooling around after practice and whatnot with moves and just kind of talking it out. And he kind of brought up something I never really thought of. He wouldn't. Everyone's told, like, if you're watching a guy body language, what are you going to look at?
Oh, you're actually asking.
Yeah, I'm asking you too. Like what were you guys told to look at if you're
Feet,
like
I
watching?
guess.
What were you told to look at?
Feet.
Chest.
Yeah.
Feet. See, I was told the chest growing up. I always heard like look at the chest. The guy can't move anywhere without his chest turning. Huddy was a feet guy.
So I'll answer correctly. Let's go.
Yeah, you did. So he would like shift and wait, and the second he got a guy's feet to turn one way, he was going the other way.
Dude.
And that's like for a D man, like makes a lot of sense. You're at the blue line, you're walking, and like forward's feet got to turn one way or the other to get in the shooting lane. And you just got to get away from the stick, and you're fine.
Yeah.
So like this kid, breakouts, everything, just would get a guy to turn their feet one way, get out the other way, make a pass. And I remember early on, the moment where I was like, okay, like this kid's gonna have a long career. We were playing Notre Dame, I think it was in November, and he took a puck on a breakout, passed it to me in the neutral zone. I bumped it back to him. He went in, made a head fake, went wide, took the puck around the entire zone, didn't see a play he liked, skated it out to the neutral zone, took a lap around like the blue line, and then went back in, hit me cross ice on like a kick out, drove middle, I shot it, he tipped it in the net. And it's like guys that have the confidence to just leave the ozone, like he wants to make plays. He doesn't want to just rim a puck to no one or like throw it away or put a 50-50 somewhere. Like guy just took the puck out of the zone, said see ya. Like do you see a young kid like that with the balls to do that and he's got the skill to back it up, like that's a guy that's gonna have a good career. That was like for me, that was the moment.
Yeah, for me, when I went to a couple of your games your senior year, like being a boss, I was at the hockey championship, and I remember watching front row at Providence one game. And the thing that shocked me about him too was like he's very good in his own end, like sneaky. Like he doesn't get like someone rips in his corner. Oh, yeah, he's like 5'9", like 150. Like yeah, we're gonna dude. You can't hit him. Like he'll get first touch and
Oh
it's
yeah.
up the other way, and he beats you back up ice. Like let's say he passes to the winger, like he's beating the forecheckers on the hunt. Like he and then he steps up on guys. Like he plays 30 a night. I remember him in the hockey championship. You guys with the overtime against Merrimack. I'm pretty sure I knew who passed the puck up to Hudson for the OT winner there. But him and Fensori each played like 35 minutes out of like maybe a 60
Oh yeah.
minute game. And the kid was never tired. Never. Like,
No, he's like
hanging
a full
lungs.
sprint. He's like a full sprint
Yeah,
90%
hanging
of the.
lungs, dude. And his younger brother, I watched a little bit, like a lot of the World Junior, I'm a big World Juniors guy. And he looks like he's going to be the same thing with this kid. Cole looks unbelievable.
So the way that the three brothers, I've met those three. I haven't met the fourth one. The way I describe them is Quinn. Quinn's got like the Quinn's a good player, but he's got like a different attitude than Lane. Like he's more social, like has a bit more of like a temper to him, like a bit more jam than Lane does. Lane still got it, but Quinn's more of like a hothead. Like he'll two hand you. Like he
Yeah.
doesn't care. Lane is more like composed, and then Cole is the combo of the two older ones put together. Like if you watch Lane will score a goal. He won't really sell you. Maybe he'll give you like a little fist pump or like something. I remember we watched his brother scored some nasty goal against like a D3 school at the program, and this guy did like three sellies in the span of like 5 seconds. Like he's got a bit more flair than Lane does, but like those two are like identical players.
It's
It's
incredible
just
to
the
watch.
brothers, you could just see it. Like they're all like different copies of each other. It's kind of cool. But
Yeah.
I know Woody wants a good Huddy story, and I got one here for him. We played Harvard in the women's rink at BU, and we were using the women's locker room, and we walk in, and there's a Lane Hudson stick in the women's locker room, and then his USA bucket, gloves, and his old pair of skates are also in like they're in his girlfriend's stall. And we look at Quinn, we're like, Quinn, like, why has he got gear here? He's like, oh, like Lane and his girlfriend come out at skate at like 10 o'clock at night after the rink closes. I'm like, what? He goes, yeah, like he literally comes out here with her in like a jumpsuit, skates, gloves, helmet, and he's ripping around 10, 11 o'clock at night at Walter Brown Arena on a Tuesday. I was
Built different, dude.
built different, man. That's after a practice mid-season, after a lift. Like this guy's 11 o'clock at night, you're in bed. This guy's pulling a Kobe Bryant.
Yeah, I actually heard some pretty similar, a little different. There's a kid that's at UVM this year that was his roommate at Habs Dev Camp. And he
Okay.
said right before, maybe it was the last day or something, everyone was going out. So he asked Lane, he's like, hey, do you want to go out? And as he like walked in the room, he was like watching video from this
Yeah,
past year. And then he said, so Lane stayed in, he went out. After he got back out, he was still on the iPad just watching tape.
dude, he grinds. He grinds. He's one of the guys like I stay for a long time at the rink. Like I used to get in fights with my roommates and juniors if they drove me. I was like, I'll figure it out. Like, go ahead. And they're like, well, we have to drive you. I was like, oh, like, all right, my bad. But like, there's maybe two or three kids I can think of that stayed at a rink consistently longer than me, and Lane Hudson's the first one that comes to mind.
Oh, absolutely. And the last thing that we have to talk about, because you do know Stevie Perez, So our last thing we have to talk about with
Oh
you,
no.
because so it was me, Wards, Stevie, and another kid named Jack Strauss. We lived together. We were always watching hockey every night. One of Stevie's big bullet points on Lane Hudson, because obviously we're always talking
Oh
Habs,
my God.
Rangers,
Horrible team.
House. He told me Lane Hudson is just a good college player. And me and Wards would go at him every day. And we brought up exactly what you just said. When I went to watch him play live, I saw the Beanpot. I saw your guys' regional final versus Cornell.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing you talked about in practice. Like, I was like, yeah, he's definitely small and like he's going to have to play a different style in the NHL, but he's smart enough where he's going to learn. But like he doesn't get touched. And it was the
No,
same
you
thing.
never hit him.
The first time he got a puck low to high against Detroit in his first game, I think it was his second shift. He does that same thing, right? Weight shift, head fake, gets a primary apple. And it's
Yeah.
just like, and right after that game, Stevie texts me and he's like, I think I was wrong.
I mean, man, if we can summarize Steve Perez in a take, that's it right there, right? Like,
We should get him on. We should get him on and talk to him about it.
oh
Hey,
my
Stevie.
God, man. Like,
Um,
I can't believe that. I can believe because it's Steve, but like, that's a crazy take.
do you remember the one Woody's also was the BC one with him where like Will Smith and I think it was that year they each had like no points in their first 2 games against RPI. He's like they all got drafted a little too high. It's like what this guy ended up like 70 points in 40 games. So yeah, he had some good ones for
If
sure.
Stevie was a scout, he's going after, I would say, similar to what you said about UMass Lowell, their build and what they're looking for. That's kind of Stevie. He's looking for the big, strong kid. He's not into the small skill guys. And
Yeah.
again, just like your BU team, it's a prime example of it. It's a bunch of maybe undersized college players that are skating around super skilled. And again, they're making the Frozen Four every year. You had two guys from BU on, just like you talked about the past couple years. I thought BU was going to get the job done. But like what's really eye opening, and again, it goes back to Pandolfo and this culture you're talking about, is you had Hudson and Celebrini battling it out for the Calder. Like two BU
Yeah.
guys. It's just like it's insane. And then I mean Cole Hudson, I mean when he gets there, he's going to be right up in there for the Calder as soon as he touches the league as well.
Yeah.
And he's got that killer in that killer. He's just like you talked about. For me, he's a killer. Where Lane, like I think sometimes he's looking to pass too much.
You're a
Where it's
silent
Mhm.
like
assassin though.
Cole Hudson, as soon as he creates that separation, he's looking to kill you.
Oh yeah.
And he's going to let you know after with the sellies and all of that.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
but obviously, after your big monster season, with BU, you went on, you're playing pro hockey. Just talk about, obviously, we talked about the jump from juniors to college, but what's a couple things that stand out for you that's been the most to transition into the pro game?
I think for me, this was also kind of like we talked earlier about like that reality check of like getting cut from a team or something like that. Like you think like I'm trying to think of the best way to say this. Like it's pros when you look at the three levels, you got NHL, well, three levels stateside at least. You have the NHL, AHL, ECHL. The bottom 10 to 15% of guys in the AHL or NHL are worse than the top 15 to 20 in the AHL. And same thing for the A and the coast. I think that the one thing you really learn about pro and you learn it early, especially if like being on an A deal but not being on a show deal playing in the AHL is like it's just all about being in the right spot, right time, getting opportunity. Like I know guys that like last year I was on a one-way A deal. I played 6 games, and I know guys that started the year on a coast deal. Some guy got hurt, they got called up to the team, got a chance to play. Team liked them. Guys playing 45 games now on like a AHL PTO or signs a deal after, and it's like there's got like you see that happen. There's another guy too, this defenseman I played against. I think last name was Ortiz. He started in Wheeling, played like maybe 15 games in Wheeling, got called up to Providence because the Bruins had D injury issues all year, and he ended up staying there pretty much the entire year. Where it's like there's plenty of guys like that, but my case, like both years I was in Lehigh, we had 19 forwards to start the year, and I'm one of two guys on an AHL deal. Where it's like you get your opportunity, like you have no leash whatsoever.
Yeah.
Because management in the stands is, oh, we need to develop this guy, we need to develop this guy. Like it's hard. So you got to be like, you get that chance, you either take the most of it, and even sometimes you do, and it's still not enough. That's the reality of pro hockey. I feel like no one really talks about the pace and everything. Like I actually thought, for me, like the easiest games I think I played were the games where I was playing preseason with Philly, because like everyone thinks the game at such a good level. Everyone is in the right spot at all time. It's almost easier to read. Where
Yeah.
it's like I'm going into a puck on the boards, D-man rims it or something. I take a quick look. I know that this D-man's pinching on me. They have a guy reloading, but I know my center's below me every single time. I can no look little pop it.
Yeah.
If I take a look, I see a forechecker's going to him. If I eat this puck, I know the center's coming in to help. I know I've got a winger coming in the middle. My D-man's following up the play. Like, worst case is I start a puck battle on my boards.
Mhm.
But, like, it's like, so then there's times where, like, you go to the A or you go to the coast. It's like you get the puck, your center's at the far blue line because he blew an edge or something. And then, like, your winger is playing defense and your defenseman's at the point, and you're just like, what is going on?
That's probably how
It's
you felt
like,
with me, Woody, when I was your center. Why was I getting the fucking far blue line looking for a breakaway?
Oh
oh,
yeah.
Probably how
you
you
play
felt.
you play Chell the same way. But
Oh God, probably how you felt,
no,
Woody. I'm
but like
sorry.
it's just like the best way to describe the coast is like chaos. The best way to describe the AHL is controlled chaos. Like the AHL, like I think the biggest jump I've ever seen between two leagues is the coast and the A.
Yeah.
Personally, like
Gotcha.
versus juniors to college versus youth to juniors. Like I think that is the biggest jump I've ever.
I think we might have lost him. I think it
Oh,
is.
back.
I think I got a call. I cut out a little bit.
No, you're
No
good.
worries. Now
No.
let me ask you this, because obviously the college season you're playing, just about 30. I mean, BU, you're probably playing mid high 30s. Then obviously pro, you're looking at double that. So like for you in the off season, and kind of a two-part question. What are you doing? Like how often are you skating during the week? How often are you working out? And then for you in the summer, like I'm learning this a little bit because I just got into like the coaching side. It's pretty hard in the summer. Like coaching in general, you can't please everyone. You got to be prepared for that.
Yeah.
But with the summer stuff as well, like some guys want to do compete stuff. Some guys just want to do game situational skills. Some guys just want to do skill stuff. So for you, like, what is your training looking like right now? Obviously, you're in the off season. You probably have a month left of training. So what is your training looking like?
So the way that we've always kind of structured it, and it changed between like college and youth and pro because where the seasons end kind of affects how you start. But we always, workout wise, we have the same type of phases every summer. Where the first phase you're trying to rebuild all the mobility and strength you lost in the season. Second phase, you're like still hammering the strength down. You start moving towards power, and then you start moving towards speed, and you kind of ramp yourself up and build up. But like the biggest difference for me, college, like my season would end. I'd be at school. We wouldn't be skating, but we'd be working out 2 weeks after, which is like I'd say most guys in pro probably take 2 to 4 weeks before they step back in a gym. Um, but like you're not touching the ice for like a month after college, but you're coming back and you're starting to skate in like May. Whereas in pro, like my first year, my season ended May 11th or something. My season this year ended end of April. So you're taking your time off and then you're going back to skate with college guys who are a month, 2 months ahead of you. And they're like, all right, yeah, I want to ramp up. I want to battle. I want to compete. And you're like, I'm still trying to remember how to stick handle. So
Yeah.
it's all about the different stages, and I feel like trying to put groups together that are at a similar point. So like I didn't touch the ice probably for, I think I took 6 weeks off from the ice. And when I started skating again, it was only like 1 to 2 times a week. And then once I hit August, that's when I kind of ramp it up back to 3 to 4 a week and just kind of build that up. But like you said, the season's so long, like you almost don't really want to bag yourself going into camp because
Yeah.
you know you're going to get bagged at camp. And then you
Yeah.
know you're going to be sitting there playing 72 games, and then you make playoffs, you got even longer, and like you're going to be just battling. You're not. They do a good job in pro. I feel like we had way more off days than we did in college. Like if we had let's say a 3-3, we play Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They would give us Monday off. If we had a game Wednesday, they're like, depending on how the team's doing, we'd have Monday, Tuesday off. Come in for morning skate Wednesday. You do your meetings and you play.
Yeah.
That obviously depends on where in the season you are and whatnot. You're skating more in the earlier couple months, but they do a good job managing all that and stuff in season. But I see like it's also different for anyone. Like you see Marshy, there's videos of Marshy skating 2 weeks after his season ends.
Backwards
Some guys
bender.
don't. Yeah, the guy goes on a 2 week bender, then he's sweating it out, skating like right away. Like there's some guys that love to jump on the ice right away. I was like that initially, and then my strength coach told me to knock it off. And I honestly feel like I've felt way better since. But
There's one thing I wanted to ask you. I actually haven't even asked you this, but I don't know if it came up. But obviously, you're playing in Bakersfield next year. Congratulations. One thing we want to talk about, I guess, is how NHL free agency works. Like, honestly, I have no idea. So, kind of how was that like when July 1st hit? And you're obviously getting calls from probably coast teams, AHL teams, whatever it is, like different contracts. Kind of just discuss how that process went.
yeah,
Whatever you could say. I'm not sure how much you could really talk about it, but
it's a lack of a better term, shit show. Um, I know like most teams, like everyone worries about the NHL side first. So like it's not like you're a AHL guy and you're getting hammered with a call right away. Like
Mhm.
obviously if you're like an AHL guy that's going to be on an NHL two way, like you're getting your calls early. But like those big names in free agency, everyone's trying to figure that out, figure their starting roster out, and then they kind of move down the ladder. I know like the earliest calls I was getting was European teams.
Okay.
Like their season starts earlier. I know the one team that called me, they're in like the Champions League over in Europe, and their first game's like August 25th, which is I'm pretty sure what 10 days from now.
Mhm.
So like I was getting calls from them, and like my season was over for 2 weeks and I was getting calls in like beginning of May.
Wow.
So like that, like Europe moves faster than here. Here, like I was getting calls and texts, like they'll call your agents, they'll call you, whatever number they have available. Had a couple coast teams reach out, couple A teams we were talking with. Ended up going to Baco. For me, I think that's probably the spot where, from what I like, it sounds like it's going to be a good opportunity for me. And my best friend growing up lives there, so
That's what I want to
or
bring up. Legit
not lives
neighbors.
there.
It's the coolest story.
Yes, signed there, so it's going to be pretty cool if me and him can get in a game together.
And you guys grew up based off Lords kind of gave me the movie trailer version. But you guys kind of grew up like neighbors, right?
He's probably 15 houses down the road from me. We
That's
were
crazy.
our town's literally it's a square and it's a mile. Like we had our school, like my grade had I think 60 kids in it. Small town. My brother, myself, Damien, and then there was another set of brothers. Those were like the five guys we had that played hockey. My brother was like a double A guy, like just played it for fun, played it in high school. Could have been disgusting if he tried. This kid was a natural. And
He was
he
actually a
got
national athlete.
he got the height too. Go figure. But me and Damien were really the only AAA guys in town, so like we'd go hammer stick and pucks and open hockeys together growing up, and I say once he hit like 9 or 10, because I'm older than him by 3 years, but once we got to an age where we're close enough to train together like we did, and we've been working together for a while, and it's kind of crazy that our paths are gonna cross like this, but pretty cool at the same time.
Absolutely. Well, hey, obviously, I know you and Wards are great buddies, grew up playing Pee Wee hockey together. I've been watching you for a while because obviously I played with Patty Smokes, the SoundCloud cloud rapper, and then obviously Perez and now Wards. So I've been watching you since the UMass Lowell days with the Heartbreaker. And I look forward to watching more in Bakersfield. But I really appreciate you coming on. I know you're busy with your off season. And Wards was fired up,
Oh God,
to
it's
say the least, to have you on. I got a jingle this morning. Are you ready to go or what?
make sure
I'm,
you're
su-
up after 8 a.m. Make sure you're awake. You gotta be ready to go, dude.
I'm
I'm
surprised
ready.
it took you this long to ask, if I'm being honest.
No,
We
Brad,
did.
you were
You've
getting
been
on.
in the since
You
we
were getting
started
on.
doing
You were
this.
gonna get on before the summer
You
ended.
were. You've been brought up since day one. He didn't know if you would say yes. So we
I'm
were a little.
offended.
Yeah.
I'm offended, Wards.
I mean, it came up on Xbox one night. He really didn't seem too jammed up about
I
it. So I
told
let
you
it
I was
go for a
down.
little.
I told you I was down.
All right, well, I'm glad you're on now. It was a good time to have you on. It was awesome.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for having me.
Absolutely.